I'd like to call this council meeting to order. This time, I'll receive a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. This time, we will have an invocation by Councilman Kennedy.
Thank you, sir. Would you all let's bow in prayer, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight for guidance and direction. And we thank you for the freedom to be able to have our meetings. And we wish that you would protect, guide, and direct our men and women who are fighting for our freedom on foreign shores. Sometimes we don't understand the joy of having the freedoms that we have. And we just ask that you be with them and lift them up and keep them out of harm's way. I ask that you bless every family that is represented in this room tonight, dear Lord. And we thank you for the many blessings that you have given to us. I ask that you bless our conversations tonight and let us make good decisions for our county. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. At this time, I'll receive a motion for the approval of minutes for regular meeting July 14th and work session July 14th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, Mr. Brown. We now have a public presentation from Midlands Fatherhood Coalition, Mr. Rudolph Walker. Mr. Walker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, thank you for allowing us to take and be here this evening, and I believe every member has a progress report in front of them. I'm going to be brief. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the council's continued support. As all y'all know, funding for nonprofit organizations have been down the last couple of years, but because of the continued support of the council, we have been able to continue to support the fathers here, non-custodial and custodial fathers here in Fairfield County with a number of services. Like I say, we provide parenting education, health relationship education, and also economic stability, which is assisting them with being prepared for employment. We also, serve them in any number of ways. I'm not going to go through everything in here, but I just want to take it and highlight several things. We've served 70 participants between January 1 and June 30th. Currently enrolled 48 participants. Of that 48, 22 participants are currently employed. You have a note there to where we had 3 young men that went advanced welding training. And I just learned that one had completed, but 2 of those individuals have completed and received their advanced welding certification. 1 more to complete. We've had 4 of our participants who report increased time spent with their children. We were able to assist 3 participants with eye exams and eyeglasses. 4 participants have become WHEEL certified with the Work Keys assessment. And as y'all know, as far as the Work Keys assessment is concerned, that's a program that the employers have put together that lets them know that an individual has the capabilities of providing whatever task that they need on their particular jobs, which is something that we are proud of. We've had 1 individual taking purchase a vehicle, 1 participant had obtained his own housing. We had 13 participants to complete our employment boot camp, and what that is, over the last year, we started our program to where for us to assist you with employment, we need to know that you are prepared for that. So we teach interviewing skills, proper dress, and all the necessary information that you need in order to take and receive that employment and be ready for that employment opportunity. And of those 13 that have completed our employment boot camp, 10 of those individuals are now employed. And over the last, between January 1 and June 30th, we've collected a total of $38,390.88 in paid child support, which is one thing that we advocate, that once you get employment, that you, first of all, take care of your responsibilities as far as your children are concerned. Now, of that 48 participants that are currently in our program, all of them are not on child support, so that number still is good. One note, we'll be doing a back-to-school bash this year, and we will be partnering with the Zion Hill Prevention Save the Kids programs on August 12th. This evening, I brought with me one of the young men that are in my program, Mr. Rashawn Brown, I'm sorry, don't be mad.
How are y'all? Again, my name is Rashawn Brown. I recently enrolled in the program. I've been in the program now, I'll say almost a week, 2 weeks. I just enrolled into the TDI truck driver training program. Mr. Walker, who's a great mentor, counseled me very well. I was having a little rough time in my life, but I'm working with the program. The program is helping me out very well, and I'm not going to stay too long because I've been going here since 5 o'clock this morning. My babies miss me, but it's a great program, and I think, you know, that if we can do anything, if I can do anything to keep it going and talk about it, I will. But again, it's a very, very good program, and I think we should get more young men that's my age that's having problems to enroll them in the program as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So if there are no questions, I'll sit down.
Any questions, council?
Just to say, Mr. Chairman, that I think you're doing a wonderful job. In fact, I would come over sometimes and participate in your sessions and whatnot. So I learned a lot about what you were doing. So I think each councilman, we have programs like this, if they can find the time to go sit in these programs and see what's actually going on. So I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Well, like I say, you know, and that goes, we couldn't do what we continue to do if not for the assistance of the council here, you know. And like I said, I can't say thank you enough for the program and for the men that we serve. We thank you, you know, for your generosity. We appreciate it.
We certainly appreciate what you do for these young people and the community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this time, we are going to do a proclamation for 2 exchange students, and I'm going to refer to my clerk to read the names of these 2 fine young ladies that came, and I'd like Mr. Bill Hassett to come on.
Whereas it is the cooperative effort of people of all races, all religions, and all nationalities that makes the United States of America a great country. And whereas each group has contributed to America's growth and has a rich heritage to share with us. And whereas the purpose of a youth exchange program is to create and foster a spirit of understanding among the people of the world. And whereas a youth exchange program provides young people with a unique opportunity to participate in everyday life in another culture, reside with a host family, serve as an ambassador for international understanding, and participate in local customs. And whereas generally youth exchange visits are 2 to 4 weeks in duration. There are 14 youth exchange students staying with South Carolina families for the first 2 weeks of their visit with South Carolina host families. 6 of those students are staying with host families in Fairfield County. And whereas beginning July 26, 2014, the students will travel across the state for 2 additional weeks with the other youth exchange students. And whereas Bendata Bizzotto, age 17, from Italy, and Sandra Traxinger, age 16, from Austria, are guests of Mr. and Mrs. William Bill Hazlitt of Winsboro, Fairfield County, South Carolina. And whereas on July 14, 2014, Bendata and Sandra were afforded an opportunity to meet and share cultural viewpoints by their attendance at the Fairfield County work session. Now therefore be it resolved that Fairfield County Council extend a hearty welcome to Bendata Bizzotto and Sandra Traxinger to the United States of America, the state of South Carolina, and to Fairfield County, and hope that the time you spend here will be a treasured exchange of understanding and a profitable time for all of us. Witness my hand this 28th day of July in the year of our Lord 2014 at Fairfield County, South Carolina, signed by David L. Ferguson, Chairman, on behalf of Fairfield County Council.
Appreciate what you do for exchange students. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, David.
We are now down to number 6, first public comment. Ms. Brown, would you read the names, please?
Mr. Randy Bright has signed to speak on Guten Tag and Bonacera.
In other words, greetings and hello. I'm Randy Bright, District 1, Ridgeway, South Carolina. I'm speaking tonight on Ordinance 638, and I have some questions and suggestions. This is the land purchase, or land selling. What was / or is the bidding process for this sale? Who are the winners and losers in the bid process? What is the appraisal price differential from the asking / sale price? In other words, why such a cheap price per acre? Have any additional incentives been offered as part of the deal? What are the brokerage fees and paid to whom? Is this property scheduled for development? If so, why didn't we eliminate the middleman and just execute that ourselves? I also have some suggestions for utilization of the land sale proceeds. Pay down the bond debt and save the taxpayers over $1 million. Invest in a computer literacy program, a robust computer literacy program, including established permanent computer sites in rec centers and libraries, and include training in the program. Establish a tightly controlled rainy day fund. Use the seed money to attract a YMCA. Invest in a partnership with the school district to keep school recreational facilities open during off-school hours. Partnership with USC to establish a local small business development center. I think this is really vital that we emphasize to attract and support small businesses in our county. Also coordinate the project with local Chamber of Commerce. Leverage this to attract and support small businesses with a one-stop resource and managerial and technical assistance. Set aside as seed money for sizable housing developments, our #1 issue in all of our analytical studies. Set aside as seed money to attract a shopping mall at I-77 and exit 48. Set aside to complete water infrastructure to the industrial corridor. Provide funding to improve the fire ratings of those areas with an ISO PPC rating of 9, mostly in Mr. Marcharia's district, if not all. Invest in establishing a lumber yard to stimulate our shovel-ready timber industry while much of the state's industry was set back by this winter storm. In other words, much of the state timber industry was damaged by the recent winter storms. we can strike now while the opportunity allows us to with investment in the timber industry.
Mr. David Brandenburg, ordinance number 636. Members of council, Mr. Brandenburg has signed to speak at the public hearing segment on ordinance 636, and he feels that's the most appropriate place for him to sign. Therefore, he wishes to be removed from the segment number 1. So now we have Ms. Selwyn Turner on enhancement funds.
Selwyn Turner, District 2. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by any other name would smell as sweet. You can sniff the wonderful fragrance of a rose all day long and call it something else. A daisy, a dandelion, or even a weed. But it still has the same smell. Likewise, a discretionary fund by any other name is still the discretionary fund. You can call it enhancement funds all day long if you wish, but it still stinks to high heaven, just like a discretionary fund. You can even add difficult requirements, making it harder to comply, but that will just be more costly, more time-consuming, and even more bureaucratic red tape for our agencies. Do you folks in the audience even know what a discretionary fund is? Apparently, it is a deceptive fund that makes our council members look good and generous in the eyes of their constituents, so that ultimately they will be reelected by the recipients they selectively choose to receive the $2,500 per district funds that appear to be coming from council members instead of the taxpayers. If you would just do what you're supposed to do, which is to look out for the county with vision, foresight, and common sense, you wouldn't have time to run around giving out freebies to certain individuals and groups that you determine worthy of this cause, of this money. Let the churches tend to the charity in their communities. Let the schools or individual clubs tend to needy students. And you tend to the progress of Fairfield County. Pull out your job descriptions. Does discretionary fund come under that heading? Either leave this county or get out of the way so that someone else with integrity and ability can take your place. If you would receive the salary for the job description you accepted with this elected office, $15,000, which is more than you deserve for a part-time job, and much more than comparable surrounding county salaries, county council salaries, then your end-of-the-year county income that you disclosed to the Ethics Commission wouldn't jump from $15,000 to $30,000 a year for most of you, and even beyond that for some of you. Enhancement funds should be eliminated, as well as reimbursement for any expense, such as cell phones, computers, office supplies, mileage, etc. I don't know anyone on the face of the earth who gets paid to come to work, except you folks. Even receipts that you now required to turn in for expense requirements do not make them smell better. You don't need to be reimbursed for everyday expenses that all ordinary citizens already have. A rose by any other name is still a rose. You don't need to change the name to enhancement fund. You just need to eliminate the discretionary fund and anything else beyond your $15,000 salary.
Thank you. That's all who signed tonight.
It's now time for public hearing. I will open public hearing at 6:26. First one is authorizing Fairfield County, South Carolina, to purchase and development of approximately 1 365,000ths of an acre of real property to be used as a fire emergency station in the Ridgeway section. Is anybody signed to address that one?
Yes, sir. Mr. David Brandenburg.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chair, just wanted to mention one thing, Mr. Brown, you go ahead, come on up. Just wanted to mention a correction that we made to this item. On the last time, there were actually 2 lots that this was inclusive of. We went back with the county attorney and of course and corrected. That was kind of an oversight in the contract. It was the same and it never changed, but we did need to change the nomenclature in the title to make it consistent with the 2 lots we're combining for the fire station property. So just wanted to publicly mention that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's David Brandenburg, District 7. I'm here to speak on ordinance 636. This is the fire station down in the Ridgeway area. I'm a retired firefighter. I know the need for emergency stations for fire departments and such. First off, problem I have with this is $65,000 for one, according to the last agenda from last meeting, it was 1.12 hundredths of an acre, rather than 365 thousandths of an acre. So that's where my numbers are coming from, the last meeting agenda. $65,000 for 1.12 acres with a building. Information I got is that the building was going to be used as the station to house the trucks and such. Being retired Department of Winsboro Public Safety, I know about small buildings, small doors, big fire trucks. They're getting bigger every year. They're not getting smaller. You cause damage, puts them out of service. If you go down and look at this building, it is an older building, has small doors. It's going to need major renovations and this is my opinion, okay? This is all my opinion. It's going to need major renovations to be bigger. If it's going to replace the Ridgeway Station, Ridgeway Station is 3-bay. This building at most will hold 4 vehicles. So you're not gaining a whole lot of area. The building itself will take probably a good bit of renovation, maintenance over the years because it's an older structure. What we need nowadays is a structure that will last 20 to 30 years minimum down the road. 5.6 miles away from this location is, I think they call it the Southeastern Station. It's a 5-bay, beautiful building. It's 5.5 miles away. Do we need another station that close? You have EMS right there. We need EMS. I'm not downing anybody. But I just think this is a really lot amount of money to put in. With my numbers, if the building is unsuitable for a fire station, you will be paying $58,035.71 an acre for the land. We can find something cheaper than that. Put a metal building on it and save taxpayers some money. I would really respectfully request that you abstain from third reading on this, at least wise until you guys have a chance to study and look at the building. I don't know if any of y'all have seen it or if all of you have seen it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No one else signed from the public to speak.
Okay. Council members, Mr. Perry?
I was going to respond, but I think I'm going to have Mr. Pope respond because I think there's some information that need to be cleared up.
Okay. Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, we're going to handle that once we get to that place on the agenda. Are you?
Okay. All right. That's fine. Any other council members got any comments? Hearing none, I close this part of the public hearing at 6:30. I open up public hearing for ordinance 37, an ordinance authorizing Fairfield County to purchase land known as Rufus Belton Park for recreational uses in the location of emergency personnel and services being a portion of Fairfield County tax map number 152000037. Is anybody signed to discuss that one, Ms. Brown?
No, sir, that's fine.
Okay. Council, any comments on the Rufus Belton Park? Mr. Pope, would you or Mr. Perry comment on the history of this park for us, please?
Yes, sir, I will, when we get to it on the agenda as well.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I will say this. Rufus Belton Park is a park that's located down in the southeastern part of Fairfield County. I played little league ball myself on that park approximately about 40 years ago. It's been a long time, actually a little bit longer than that. It has a great deal of history to not only to that area but to the county down there. So that park has been a great deal. We've got EMS and our fire station on that park down there. So, but that park has been a great deal. Mr. Belton used to serve on county council. He donated that property for a long time at a very nominal amount, and it is a huge, important area for this county down in Ridgeway.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I close this portion of public hearing at 6:32. Also open up the third part of public hearing at 6:32. And an ordinance authorizing Fairfield County to sell and convey county-owned property located off Center Creek Road containing 405 acres more or less by private sale, being shown on the Fairfield County tax map as parcel number 201-000-1111. Do we have anybody to discuss that one, Ms. Brown?
No,
Okay. Council? Hearing none, I close this public hearing at 6:33, Ms. Brown. Okay. Ordinances, resolutions, and orders. Number 8A. Mr. Pope.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, council. Good evening, citizens of Fairfield County. Mr. Chairman, the first item that we have there under ordinances, resolutions, and orders is providing for a fee in lieu of tax agreement between Fairfield and Project Leprechaun. This is actually, of course, it still has a code name. It's still an economic development project, but we're moving that through the process. We will have an executive session on this item to bring forth some additional information to the council on this, but we would ask that you go ahead and actually give the first reading on the resolution.
Okay. Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, unanimous, Ms. Brown. I would like to state at this point, I have two statements of potential conflict of interest from Mr. Brown, and those two are on 636 and 638, and will be read in as part of the minutes by Ms. Brown. Okay? We are now down to second reading ordinance number 634. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, unanimous, Ms. Brown. Third and final reading, ordinance number 635.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, unanimous, Ms. Brown. We're now down to D, third and final reading, ordinance number 636.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On this item, just wanted to mention and give a staff update on this. This, of course, is the property at Ridgeway that we have contractually are seeking to purchase this piece of property. We have met with and studied very carefully the location of this fire station with our fire marshal. This location of property was very strategic for us, of course, because of the 5-mile radius that you need in order to have response times to keep ISO ratings at the appropriate levels that we have. We actually explored using county property that was close by this particular location. However, by using that county property, it would have thrown a number of people out of the 5-mile radius, and therefore would have been increasing their ISO insurance rates. The fire marshal came up with a map looking at every, in fact, every house and location along that road, and making sure that it was the best available location for us. The other thing is, I believe it was made mention about the building that's on the piece of property. The county is not looking to refurbish that building. That building will be actually storage. Actually, there will be a new facility, of course, if the council moves forward with this. There will be a new facility that will certainly be appropriate for the size of fire trucks and everything to actually go on that site and that location. This does fit within our long-range plan. It actually helps to enhance some of the challenges that we have with the location that's there in Ridgeway now. And so we believe that that is an appropriate location. The acreage itself, I know it was mentioned, and there was a correction on third reading with that, because the first 2 readings just picked up one of the lots. It's actually 2 lots that we are actually purchasing for the location, because we want to make sure that, of course, you have the necessary turning radius and all the other things in order to make the fire station work. So those are some just additional facts about the purchase, or staff is seeking purchase of that location for a fire station location.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign.
One abstention, Mr. Chairman.
6 and 1. Third and final reading, ordinance number 637.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
This is another property, and I won't try to be redundant and mention what Mr. Perry did from his history with the location there, but I can tell you from our staff research of this, of course, this location has been very important to various folks in the community around Rufus Belton Park. His son, I believe, is Mr. Clayton Belton, who we have been dealing with for this location. This location has on it, our fire station. It actually has an EMS unit that's there on site. There also is recreational facilities there, that being a baseball, softball diamond, as well as concession stand, kind of a meeting room. It actually has public restrooms there as well. This is, as I understand, very heavily used by the community. Part of our recreational youth leagues participate and use that site for county activities. This site had actually been under a long-term lease agreement with the county, and the county is attempting to transition itself from lease arrangements into county ownership. And so this is one of the things what we're looking at. And of course, if we had to, and we looked at the cost-benefit analysis of totally replacing this for all of the facilities that we had there, which would have been quite expensive. We wanted to go ahead and have the public hearing to see if there were any public comment about that. But Mr. Chairman, I would respectfully ask that we defer approval of third reading until the next council meeting. Mr. Clayton Belton, of course, he had looked at the agreement and whatnot. There are no problems, but he just wanted a bit of additional time, and hopefully we can give we'll have the contract actually signed and approved for the third reading on, I guess that will be August 25th. So if we would recommend deferral until August 25th.
Do I have a motion as such?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Ms. Brown, that's to go back on at the next regular meeting. Okay, we're now down to third and final reading, ordinance number 638.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I would, excuse me, sure.
One thing, this is a piece of property, Mr. Chairman, that this council undertook several years ago when the county purchased this property. I believe it was back in 2002 or 2003, when the county originally purchased this property for an investment of around $638,000. That's what the property was purchased for at that time. The county actually looked at this piece of property as an investment property for economic development opportunities, and also the county entertained commercial opportunities for this being some type of residential or retirement community project. The county contracted with realtors to look at the site, the location. That did not pan out, and I would just kind of tell you, in looking at, in retrospect, I think that the county was very wise to look at that. However, I know firsthand, and actually speaking to the folks and the realtors who were involved in this, a retirement community in that particular area would be very challenging to have a successful one unless there were a considerable amount of public investment in order to do that. Normally, local governments don't get into real estate development and things like that, but having the infrastructure in case if someone wants to develop and where those private dollars are being able to do that. So that is something that has been looked at. I know when we first brought this up. Also, I just wanted to mention that this council has publicly advertised through the broker that we have, publicly advertised. Here in this chamber, you gave me approval to move forward. So as far as there being anyone who has been disadvantaged by the sale of this property, I think it's actually a tremendous win-win for the price per acre that the county is being able to receive from the sale of this property. There are no plans from the purchaser of this to have the property developed. There have been no zoning changes on it. Of course, that would have to come through a public process if there were any zoning changes on it. However, just like any other piece of property that a person owns, that person has the opportunity to use his or her property as they see fit based upon the county's zoning ordinances and codes. So this is actually a tremendous opportunity, and what we're selling this for, we're going to recoup our investment, plus we're actually doubling that. So in looking at price points of what folks are getting from property sales in Fairfield County now, we were almost able to double that. So that's a tremendous opportunity and investment for the county. So just wanted to add those items as information as to how we've kind of factually gone through the process of publicly advertising and offering for this. And I think we had a couple of offers for the property, but this was one of the ones that we followed through with, and of course it met with the council's criteria to be able to sell the property. Thank you.
Just Kim.
Thank you, sir. I would like to make a motion to approve the third reading of the sale of 405 acres of county property, and that the proceeds of the sale be designated in the following two methods. First, up to $25,000 to be set aside for the purchase of property for county recreational activities in the Center Creek area, and the remainder of the proceeds shall be designated for economic development purposes in the county's Economic Development Fund. And council, we had originally talked about a park down in that area and it kind of obligated to it, and that's why I'm asking that that $25,000 be set aside for that recreational activities.
Second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. One abstention, Mr. Chairman. The ayes have it with one abstention. Right. We're now down to G, first reading by title only, ordinance number 639.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On this, we would ask that you hold or defer this item until you get an executive session briefing on this, and then we will actually vote when we come back out in the public session.
Okay. Do I have a motion as such?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. We're now down to boards and commission minutes. You see what you received on your communique. We are now down to 10 board and commission appointments. If you look in your folder, the first one is an appointment to the hospital board. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, Ms. Brown. The second one is a reappointment ratification
Motion to approve.
for the Aeronautics Commission. I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. Ms. Brown, would you post those two names, please?
Tonight's appointments to the Fairfield County Aeronautics Commission is a reappointment of Mr. Ron Gant, who is representing District 6, and the appointment to the Fairfield Memorial Hospital Board is Mr. Randy Bright, representing District 1.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Ms. Brown. We don't have any old business, new business consideration of the application of 2014-2015 JAG grant funds. Mr. Pope?
Mr. Chairman, this is actually something, it was actually my error. I actually pulled it out from the agenda last time. We actually had the public hearing on this. This is where we received the federal funds in amount of approximately $10,400 for the use in the Sheriff's Department, and just ask for just your approval with the JAG grant, the award.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it. If you remember, we had quite a conversation about that, and our funds guy told us exactly what this was to be used for. We're now down to B, consideration of funding request for World War II Memorial Monument. Do I have a motion on that?
I make the motion, Mr. Chairman, that based upon the presentation that Mr. Hassler made to our last committee meeting, I believe that the county should fund this project for the World War II Memorial for the soldiers from Fairfield County that gave their lives for our freedom, and those men should be recognized in an appropriate manner. Therefore, I move that Mr. Hassler's organization should be first educate the public about this cause, because he did a phenomenal job presenting that to the county. And therefore, I move that Mr. Hassler's organization should first educate the public about this cause, and also document the contributions from the private sector in the amount of $10,000 Mr. Hassler said he would raise for the county. And I move that the county match that contribution, Mr. Chairman, for $10,000 for this World War II Memorial Project.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to know, since I was not here when you made your presentation, will this include the Fairfield County residents that will be honored, or is it anyone from World War II that may have lived here at any time?
What we're trying to do is anybody,
Bill, would you come to the podium up here so we can get this on recording?
what we're trying to do, we want to have anybody that was born and raised in Fairfield County that enlisted in the service during World War II, we want to honor them. And we have Fairfield County Veterans Administration has given us a list of 37 names, and there possibly could be some more. I've had some more people say that they would like to be included, that they think their folks were born here, but then they live somewhere else. And I'd like to ask the council their opinion on that, because if they were born here in Fairfield County, but they moved to Richland County, and then they got into service and were killed, do we want to count them? I'm asking y'all to help me with that. Because I've got 37 people right now that were in Fairfield County when they went into service, and they were lost, they were killed. So I'm asking the council's advice on that, because if we do, it might take me a little longer to establish how many more names it might be, but Veterans Administration has given me 37 names at the present time. So I'd like your advice on that.
Council will have to discuss that and get back with Mr. Haslett. Okay? Appreciate it. Was that all, Ms. Ross? Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it unanimous, Mr. Brown. Okay, County Administrator's report, Ms. Pope.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item under the County Administrator's report is proposed dates for meeting with delegation members. If you recall, there was a conversation had at the end of our last intergovernmental meeting that we needed to have a follow-up meeting with the delegation. The chairman and vice chairman asked staff, Ms. Brown and I, to get together to propose some potential dates that we could forward to members of the delegation to see if one of the dates would be amenable to them. The dates that we suggested, and I believe Ms. Brown may have had some conversations with the chairman, but August 18th, September 15th, and September 29th.
This is the off Mondays in between council meetings, and that's the reason we chose those 3 dates. And we will, if y'all vote on these, then we will propose these to the appropriate folks and then get some feedback from them.
So moved.
So second, Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it unanimous, Mr. Brown. Mr. Pope.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Letter B, this was a request of action. It reads detention center software upgrade. This matter went to committee. We actually had unanimous vote from the Administration and Finance Committee regarding this item. This is a request that's being made by the Fairfield County Detention Center regarding technology that we have with software that we need to be able to communicate with SLED. We have some outdated information that impacts charges and other information that we place in our system. It's not supported any longer. This is something that's not a choice. This is a requirement that we have to be in compliance with what SLED wants us to do with the communication of information. The committee recommended this unanimously, and it's a cost of $31,124.20. This would be off of state contract, and we would respectfully request council's favorable approval on this item. You have in your packet, of course, the letter and the information from SLED outlining that information.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor signify by, okay.
Was that in the budget?
No, ma'am, it was not. However, what we're using, Ms. Robinson, are existing funds. If you recall, we have some technology upgrades that are pending. Those, if you recall, our control system that we're looking at, so we're going to use that fund because that's critical right now. And we're hoping that the information that we're researching on the other upgrades will be able to accomplish both things within those same budget dollars.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it unanimous, Ms. Brown. Mr. Pope.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I need to ask for a little assistance on this one. Mr. Anderson, I believe, is going to help me on this one. This is letter C, request of action. This is replacement of county maintenance vehicle. This was also discussed and approved unanimously at committee as well. Ms. Anderson.
Yes, council and citizens, what this vehicle is going to replace is an older model service vehicle that is having some mechanical difficulties. What we've done is upgraded the model to a 4-wheel drive, and what that does in the wintertime when building maintenance comes out and make sure all our safety sensitive personnel can get into the building safely. So that's the importance of this building, this machine that we're trying to get now. This vehicle will be twofold to help with the building maintenance and also doing inclement weather of getting out and making sure the buildings are clear for all our detention center, EMS vehicles to get in and out. So that's the need for this vehicle.
Mr. Chairman and Council, also, and we've now, I guess over the last several months have begun to do this after discussions with a local automobile dealer here. We price things under state contract. However, if they can come very close to that, we go with the local dealer instead, and this would actually we'd be going with the local dealer instead of purchasing that vehicle on state contract.
And that's a good thing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign.
And those funds were budgeted.
Okay, budgeted funds. Okay. The ayes have it. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the next letter that we have, letter D, request of action, the Fairfield County Airport. This is a runway safety area improvement grant. This, of course, through the FAA for all general aviation airports. We have a capital construction plan looking at improvements that we need to make to our general aviation airport. This grant that we have, this addresses safety standards for Category B2 aircraft, and that's aircraft with an approach speed of less than 120 miles per hour and a tail height of less than 30 feet through design improvements. We are receiving up to $1.2 million with these funds that are secured through the FAA. Our match would only be approximately $60,000. This also comes, the state aeronautics actually also participates in this. This is, I think, by anyone's stretch of the imagination, is a tremendous bang for the buck for us of getting $1.2 million in needed safety improvements that we have for our capital improvements plan there. And so this also went to committee. This was approved unanimously. Also, just to remind the council, because the council knows this, but to let the citizens know as well, but we have consultants. W.K. Dixon is actually the county's aeronautics consultants that actually works as a liaison for us, working with the FAA, state aeronautics and whatnot on all large improvements or long-term improvements for our general aviation airport. And I think Fairfield County actually, for a county of our size, has a very quality general aviation airport for our citizens to use. And of course, as we increase our economic development here, I think that's going to be a part of our entire economic development infrastructure that's very important for corporate folks to have a use of. We would ask for your approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor signify.
I have a
Okay.
Is this in association with the notes that I've seen somewhere that FAA has recommended and almost mandated that some changes be made? Okay.
No, we've had, I guess in the past 6 or 7 months, we've had several improvements, of course, through, I know Mr. Gaither, our grants coordinator, is almost like a liaison to the airport, where we have an FBO or a fixed base operator who actually manages the airport for us. We had a few safety items that we needed to correct. We had the gas pump out there. That situation needed to be corrected. There was actually I guess a depression in the runway where it was actually only about maybe 4 or 5 inches. But of course, when you're looking at propeller planes, and of course, you could have real safety issues, especially with the price of the air equipment out there. But this is actually part of long-term improvements, nothing else.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it, Mr. Brown. Mr. Pope?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item that you have on your agenda was forwarded from committee to the full council. And first, let me give, I guess, just a little bit of history, I guess, from a staff standpoint. Remember coming on board, and this, of course, was one of the items that the council asked staff to look at. We said that we would incorporate and recommend new policy after we completed our budget process. And so we spent time in actually incorporating and drafting a new process. On a personal note, I clearly believe that you should try to be transparent in when you have a policy of trying to clearly state what your intent is as to what you want or you desire a program to be. From the totality of this council or consensus of this council, all of your spending is actually discretionary. You, by representative democracy in this county, of course, have to, by majority vote, carry issues by majority to decide what direction this county is to head in. And this was one of those that you asked us to come up with new recommendations. You did not ask staff, and I'll take the responsibility here to rename this, but actually, I believe that this new policy that we have, it actually substantively changes the way that this is actually being carried out here in the county if you so choose to approve it. What we attempt to do is actually make the program more definable, more clearer, and actually have the accountability to go back and document those things that we are to approve. This process, of course, requires a vote by the entire council, not just individually, because of course all expenditures that you have, and what I just mentioned just a while ago, has to be a collective approval by this council. So what we have done is just kind of briefly go over, but the discretionary funds or the discretionary policy that you have previously, I'm recommending to you that we change the process of how we implement this program into a community enhancement grant application process. We did not have an application process before to collect information, to go back and document those things. And so that's one of the things that we've incorporated. The community enhancement grants will be voted on by council in increments up to $500 for a maximum of $2,500 available per district. If you notice in the copy that you have an insert and strike through. The committee recommended, because the staff recommendation was that we would have, I think it was five grants of $500 each, but the committee decided to change that to have up to $500 increments. So you have the strike through language there to adjust or amend the language to the desire of the committee. Of course, the $2,500 per district, we've already approved that. That is your budgetary number that you approved in the budget. If an application is approved, a check will be made payable to the organization or individual indicated on the IRS Form W-9. That also is an accountability issue, just to give us additional information on all of the projects. The folks in the application have to indicate what district the organization is located, which funds you're applying for. You have to list information about the organization who you represent, whether it's with the Secretary of State or what have you. You have to also, if you're not registered, a registered charitable organization or professional fundraiser, how do you classify your organization? What's a community group, private group, club, or other? And the reason why we place this in the application process is, I know some of the churches that have received, for example, information or funds for like the back-to-school things that the county's had in the past. You may have had a church that has been established for 100 years in the community, but they may have never gotten their legal designation as a 501c3, and that's not uncommon with any community. So we want to make sure that we had enough and appropriate information to make sure that through our public, or as some will say, the bureaucratic process, that we have the correct and accountable information if in case we were asked questions prospectively. There actually will also be an evaluation process, which is new to this process. Actually, the staff will be receiving all of the information. We will post this information publicly, where everyone has an opportunity to submit applications. That information comes into the staff. It is evaluated, and then, of course, that information is passed on as a recommendation to the full council, as we now do with everything through our request of action process. So it would be fully vetted by the criteria that we've listed in the application, come to staff, and then we would actually rank or rate, if you will, those proposals that we felt had the greatest impact to the community. And then, of course, as with everything that this council do, the final decision is left up to the county council to pass by majority vote, of course, as to what your collective response will be to the policy. Also, like I said, we have the application included. All of that information goes out. We have our website. We would list it publicly in media outlets here in the community, along with the W-9 form. One of the things what I would recommend is prospectively, since this year we're after the budget process, is that in prospective years, if we move forward with this policy or whatever policy we wind up with is when we complete the budget process, this will also be completed with the applications or whatnot in the budget process. So that way you have everything approved, and you would know what grants and whatnot the county would be giving out in the budgetary process. So, Mr. Chairman, I would entertain any questions that you may have. I'm sure there are questions. Just keep in mind, and maybe the committee members who participate in the committee process, they may want to comment on this as well.
Barry. Mr. Chairman, I want to start. I heard some comments. I had to take an emergency call a few minutes ago, but I heard some comments about the application process for citizens in this county and in our district to participate. But I do want to say, and I feel very strongly about this, we did have some individuals that came out to the committee meeting that we had about this issue, and but I represent District 1, and I've had the fortune and the honor of representing those folks in Ridgeway for 8 years now. And when I first got on council, there has always been a process thereby for council members to designate funds within the community. I can't say that I particularly agreed with the process that we use, so maybe after the first year or so, and I never wanted any pat on the backs or kudos from anyone, but I personally started donating my own funds to the different causes that we had in Ridgeway. We have tremendous support from all the churches in Ridgeway. For my fact, we had our back to school walk yesterday, and it's been done for the past 14 years. And one of the things that I've noticed the last 8 years that I've had the opportunity to be a part of that process, I would tell you it is a blessing. We had approximately 80 young folk that came out that took about a 2-mile walk, and it was about education. Growing up in Ridgeway, South Carolina, and being underprivileged and not having funds, I can tell you it may not mean a great deal to some of the folks in here, but when you can donate $10 to a child, I don't care if it buys a pack of paper or pencil, that may not sound like a great deal to some of you all, but to some folks, it means a great deal. It means a great deal. And I would tell you, the reason I personally donated my own funds, because I didn't want there to be any kind of discrepancy whatsoever, that I was trying to buy someone's vote, or that I needed to buy someone's vote. I did fairly well before I got on county council, and I hopefully and pray to God that he will continue to bless me when I'm no longer on county council. But in addition to the back to school folks that we support, and I try to support as many as I can. So far this year I've supported 3 as their council representative. And I'm happy to say that I would do it with or without council support. In addition to that, I think it was brought up about a year ago about funds being also granted to the town of Ridgeway softball league. Mayor Herring and her council came to this council about 3 or 4 years ago and asked them for support for the town of Ridgeway. They use a facility that is outdated. The county has been so gracious to not do anything out of the ordinary, but to try to fill holes and cut grass when we can. No more, no less. It's not like we're spending a great deal of money to help the town of Ridgeway. I have a tremendous partnership with Mayor Herring down in Ridgeway and the town. And I have personally, and I asked once, and I also figured there would be some type of innuendo or council using money to buy votes. So I stopped doing that as well. But I do donate money, and we use that money to rent porta-johns for 3 months, while our young folk and old play softball for 3 to 4 months in Ridgeway at my old middle school, which is Ridgeway Middle School, that no longer exists. All you see there is an arch now. I keep hearing some folk talk about maybe we don't need recreation in this county. Maybe we're not spending funds in the right way from a recreational standpoint. Maybe not having a plan. But I can assure you, we had a plan that was presented by the Central Midlands Council of Government approximately 5 or 6 years ago. The Ridgeway District, District 1, is the fastest growing area in this county, and I'm proud to say I'm from Ridgeway. I moved back here about 16 years ago. I love living there. I moved there to serve the people of this county, and I will continue to do that whether I'm on council or not. And I just thank council, and I hope that we decide to vote tonight. I told the leaders in the community last night, I had an opportunity to speak, as well as Mayor Herring, that I'm happy that there's an avenue that is transparent, whereby someone that's in need in this community, that they've elected us as leaders to help them, that there's an avenue by which they can apply. They can state their purpose. They can also put in the number of individuals that will be impacted by these funds. We're not talking about a lot of money, you all. We're talking about $2,500 that can be divided up. It may not sound, it's our money. I pay taxes as well, and I pay a great deal of taxes, but I'm happy to pay taxes. That's why I moved back to Fairfield County, because I love this county. But I would tell you, I hope, Mr. Ferguson, and to this entire council, that we see fit, that I can't think of this being any more transparent than it possibly can be to see where these funds are going, but that we see fit to move this forward tonight in this council meeting. Sorry to take up so much time, but I'm very passionate about this. We do not have recreation in this county. Being someone that had to hitchhike from Ridgeway to Winsboro High School as a kid, not knowing whether you were going to make it home safely, we need to expend funds. We need a plan, but we need to expend funds to take care of our citizens and our kids. And I don't say kids anymore, because we're living older. We're living older. We're a healthier generation. My neighbor, Mr. Bright, talks about making sure that we're healthy. I've served on the community and health and welfare board for numerous years in this county, because I think it is important that we exercise and we eat better, and we need to be able to have a place to do that. So we need to have recreation, and I understand that we need to have a plan, but I hope we move this forward to spend a small amount of our taxpayers' money to help the less fortunate people in our community, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Briefly, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Musher.
Thank Mr. Perry for that analysis. I only want to say about it, the issues that I have with this, $2,500. When I've watched people in their homes get burned up, hear them screaming, and they come out and they need help from the Red Cross and the community, and you help their children go back to school, that's trying to get a vote to swindle, to woo somebody. And in Western Fairfield, read the data. They have more people with disabilities in Western Fairfield than any section of this county that's not getting proper health care. We have all kind of health issues in this county with our young people. We have young people in schools out and literally hungry, do not have food, and we help them with food. But all the little $2,500 to deal with 4,000 people who will have some major problems in their community, and I'm trying to woo them to get votes. I'm trying to steal something from the public. Don't imply that with me, because that's unadulterated. Now, I know just what that was. I have never tried to feed somebody who's hungry, go in the community, rip people off for $2,500 to get a vote. This is not what this is about. These children don't have recreation. They're shooting in the streets and walking around and doing anything they want because we have not, as adults, given them anything to help the quality of life for these young people. Training, any other thing, and jobs, and a criminal justice system that keeps them down. So when it is $2,500, and the other thing I would say about this, I don't know that I agree that the county should let employees make that decision. I think each council member should be able to pick a person from their district that have no strings to the county, no threats, no nothing, independent, transparent, to be able to look at their communities and decide whether or not tragedies and other things are going on in their communities. I don't know that the employees would have that kind of you got to submit papers to them and bring stuff and evaluate. I don't know that I support that. But in terms of the $2,500, if you give it to me, I'm going to give it to the most needy person I can find in my community. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot one thing that I needed to, actually, and this came up at the committee level. Also, there are actually 2 council members, and I mentioned at the committee meeting that we would need to amend or at least understand if you decide to move forward with this policy. We have 2 council members who use the the discretionary money right now, which would be community enhancement money if you decided to move forward with a new policy, but use it for street lights. That clearly fits within one of the categories that we have within the criteria. And the suggestion that I came up with the committee would be is, as long as, that particular council member wanted to fund the street lights, of course, because you have to decide and budget that on an annual basis to do that. We would run that consistent with that. However, if that ever changed, then of course the council member that would be coming into office would have a relook at that and of course could change that in the next year's budget process. So just to keep that in mind, we have some, and it's already started a fiscal year where the county's committed to the street lights for that year, so you would really need to change that the year after. So I just wanted to bring that up because that actually came up in the committee meeting, but that's actually just in 2 different districts.
Okay. Mr. Brown.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. That's where my money's been going ever since I started giving to anybody. And I don't know if anybody even knew where my money was going. But I had 2 or 3 people in my district who called me and used to hold the phone out the window so I could hear everything, the boom boxes and everything else going down the street. And we put street lights up and didn't get phone calls anymore. So it's not just lighting up streets, but for public safety and for police protection, it makes a whole lot of sense to put street lights in. And and I'm not gonna take credit for that. We had somebody here that had been in Afghanistan, may have been one of our deputies, and he said the first thing they do is put streetlights up when they move into a new town, because people don't walk around with Uzis and guns and stuff at night if you can see them. So it definitely helped my district as far as having streetlights, and I hope whoever ends up taking my place will consider that next year, come January. Thank you.
I as well have streetlights in a portion of the county that I represent for District 2. None of the folks know where those lights came from, but it has certainly stopped the sheriff's department having to go out and respond to calls, because now those streets are lighted. And that was one of my concerns now, is that we're already into this fiscal year. I hope the bill has been paid for July and will be paid for August before we can get this finalized.
Mr. Pope, the only thing that I'd like to add is, this is come under great scrutiny, but I am like the vice chair. When we're helping children go back to school and that kind of stuff, and they don't have, and this means something to them, and it means a great deal, a little means a great deal. And the fact of the matter is, we're starting so late. I think in this, the first year, we're going to have to do some hurry up and get this thing put in place so that those kids don't, because of our being slow, that are not punished because we can't get this thing worked out. So that's just a thing that I'd like you and staff to take a look at, to see if we can, just how fast we can get this thing put into place, so that these churches and these children that's looking forward to this, that's been doing it every year, that they're not neglected this year. Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by the same sign. The ayes have it unanimous, Ms. Brown. Mr. Pope?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next letter, the legal advice on Chinook Road, we provided an update to legal update to council last week. No need to rehash that one. Letter G, economic development update. That's for executive session on the item that we have regarding Lane Mecra tool, and then we will take action when we come out of executive session. Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but under my administrative updates, I have a few, but I'll try to expedite those as efficiently as I can. First is a U.S. Corps of Engineers study. All of you actually have notebooks on your desk. I provided those to you. Those final documents came to us. If you recall at our, I guess it was about a month and a half ago, where we had our meeting with the town of Winsboro regarding the study and the analysis. In short, what they had recommended in the immediate future is that we should contract with, or the town of Winsboro should contract with the city of Columbia for the ready, available source of water for community needs, and then as we build our capacity to look at the other options that are provided there. But I wanted to provide those documents to you. I'll also deliver the notebooks to the town administrator, Don Wood, and where the council will have a copy of the document as well. The next item is a MuniCode update. Staff is in the process of electronically codifying all of our codes and ordinances. Ms. Brown initiated this project back in October of last year, and we are now at a point where we can submit information to the Municipal Code Corporation. MuniCode is an organization that does municipal code codification for municipalities, counties, other local governments, or political subdivisions all across the country, and that's what we're working with. And so we'll be submitting that, and the bottom line on that is once we successfully complete that process, you'll in essence be able to go online and actually download our code of ordinances where it's just readily available for public use, or even if staff wants to research something. The next item is a scan of leases. I have actually electronically sent out to you, I sent it out to you today, leases that I have actually signed. But as I understand, the county has been working with SCANA for at least 3 years on this project. And we have final documents that have been reviewed by our county attorney, by also SCANA's legal department, and also this includes, Ms. Marshall, the property in question out in your area, and some of the stipulations that they place in there that are the FERC requirements. So what I'll do is before that is processed, I want to give you an opportunity to look at that, and then once I hear back from you, certainly by the next meeting, is to go ahead and facilitate those documents to get signatures from SCANA. Keep in mind, I guess for us, what is very important for us, we have the plans for the new fire/EMS station out there. This was necessary to get that in place first before that could be done. We've actually sent some preliminary sketch drawings of that location out there, but we needed to finalize everything before we can move forward. But you have electronic copies of those documents right now. The next item is the clerk email. Before our last council meeting, there was a lot of discussion about some folks not receiving the council agenda that Ms. Brown had sent out. I had communicated with several citizens that are, receive the agenda. We checked with our internet provider company. There have been no, and I'll repeat again, no technical glitches or anything on the county side. As a matter of fact, I received an email today from the service provider saying all of the accounts like AOL, Gmail, the other service providers, there's no indication of any kind of glitch. And plus, I guess first and foremost, we have the received email, the sent email from Ms. Brown where she actually sent that documentation out. I think it's very important. There was an editorial in the paper about that. But I think it's very important for everyone to factually know that that documentation went out, and actually, of course, in our world of technology now, glitches do happen, but thus far that certainly has not been any glitch on our side. Next item is the Lake Wateree flood study. This is something I haven't spoken to you in several months about, but if you recall, I brought a recommendation to you that we partnered with Kershaw regarding a flood study. Our staffs have been working together. We've met their representatives from the Fairfield homeowners, what do they call themselves? Whoa. Yeah, and the Kershaw side, they have lake ownership as well. But Kershaw County, we're working under their umbrella. We have issued an RFQ, request for qualifications, for Kershaw to do a study that would hopefully help us to lower the BFE, or the base flood elevation around Lake Wateree, which would have a direct impact on fire insurance premiums. The submittal has gone out, the evaluation has taken place, and now the Kershaw staff is actually going to get approval for the recommended vendor from their council. Of course, once we do that and negotiate with them, of course, I'll be coming back to this council with a cost estimate, of course, of what our partnership. And I will just tell you that the citizens that are involved in that are very appreciative of the cooperation between Fairfield County and Kershaw County with this, because, of course, we all share Lake Wateree. The next update is the Drawley Park retaining wall. Since our last meeting, a good deal of work and progress has been made since we last met. The project continues to be inspected by our third-party inspector. Of course, we don't have our own inspectors doing that, because I didn't want to be honest with you if there would be any questions about anyone cutting corners on the work that is going on there. All of the block has been replaced from the wall failure. What remains is the coating of the backside of the wall, gravel and fill, and further inspections, and then actually have a closeout on the project. So in the next several weeks. I am gratefully hoping that we will be able to close out that and then have a final report on that project. Information that is forthcoming at our next council meeting, the county tax rate and service analysis report that staff has been working on will be discussed at the next meeting on the 25th. That'll be on the agenda under my report to give that information out, as well as context that goes with the information that's provided. Also, the bond refresher presentation for the 2009 and the 2013 issue will be conducted in September. Just a few more items. Item number 8 is we've had several FOIAs regarding, this is I think is very good. Of course, folks looking at our check register and different information that's on our check register. And one of the things that was picked up was, of course, our retiree insurance supplemental